Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 13 of the Ride the Illusion podcast.
Welcome back, everyone.
I am your host, Rose, and sitting here next to me is my esteemed co-host, Orion.
Hello. Also known as Captain Ale on YouTube, which again, this will be uploaded
Yes.
to.
I am Gen X, Orion is Gen Z, so we give you music perspectives, thoughts, and questions from two different generations.
Indeed. Two totally different perspectives in some cases.
Absolutely, and that's what makes the world go round.
Indeed.
Yeah, I wish more people...
Makes the world a better place, being able to take in different perspectives.
Yeah, I wish more people would embrace that.
Imagine that.
But sadly, it doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
So, episode 13, our top 5 albums.
What a positive beginning to another wonderful episode here of the Ride the Illusion podcast.
We give you everything on this podcast, so don't we? We give you
have
music,
to, right?
we give you world perspectives, we give you how we are feeling in our lives.
Philosophical remarks.
Absolutely. We try to educate.
We give you an entire array of wonderful contents to consume.
We try to have fun here, as Orion does all of his voice impersonations here.
That's what it's all about. It's about fun, you know? This is the whole reason that this thing got created in the first place, was to have fun talking about some music.
Absolutely, absolutely. And speaking of music, episode 13 here is our top 5 albums of 2023.
Yes, indeed. We're finally getting to it.
I was just going to say, I know we are recording this on Groundhog Day, so happy Groundhog Day. The little rodent did not see his shadow, so we're getting early spring.
Yes.
Hell yes.
It makes us very happy.
Makes us very happy, yes.
We're not exactly fans of winter here, living in the Midwest. It kind of sucks here, to be honest with you.
Absolutely. And that's kind of what has delayed this episode, because, again, it's Groundhog Day of 2024, and you're probably thinking, we're getting kind of far removed from 2023.
Yeah, shouldn't you guys have done this like a month ago?
Well, here's the thing. We got absolutely buried under shitty-ass weather. And a lot of people think, oh, when you get a bunch of snow, all you do is just stay inside and not do anything. Wrong. You still have to go to work. You have to shovel off your driveway. You have to unbury your car. You have to make sure your car starts. So that takes a lot of time out of your day.
And it doesn't help when a certain someone over here comes down sick with a sinus infection.
Absolutely. And so poor Orion's been sick. We were going to record this actually a week ago.
Yeah,
but
that didn't happen.
He had no voice, basically, and was coughing everywhere.
No, I didn't think that was going to be a very good listening experience.
No.
So we decided to delay for another week here.
We didn't want hacking in your ears.
No. So little illness delay, but hey, it all works out in the end. We're getting to it now, and as the old saying goes, better late than never.
Absolutely.
And on the bright side, it gave us a little bit of an opportunity to go back and listen to a few albums that came out in 2023, a few more albums.
Yeah.
Because we got stuck on a few.
That too, and there was so much that came out in 2023. We were very, very fortunate to not only get all of this new music, but to also get great music.
Oh, yeah.
So there
were some fantastic albums that came out last year, especially in our little bubble of old school rock and metal bands, which of course is what we love to focus on here.
Right.
But I mean, stuff from newer bands and newer artists and stuff like that came out that was absolutely phenomenal as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, of course, I think today when we run through our top 5, we're not going to be seeing a whole lot of new blood because we're a couple old heads over here.
Even though you're only 22.
Yeah, I can't help it, man. Hey. I like old music more. I like old bands more.
But just to preface this, though, if you've never listened to an episode of Ride the Illusion podcast, we listen to just about any and everything. I mean, we have stuff that we dislike. We just don't care for it. Yeah. Because we have taken the time to listen to it, and it's just not our thing. If it's other people's thing, that's fine. If you're into Taylor Swift, that's great. Mm-hmm. I don't care for her music. I like her as a person, but you're not going to find us talking about a lot of that type of music here. It's just not our thing.
It's just not our thing.
Absolutely. No. And we're not going to sit around and bash people that we don't like either. That's not what we do here.
No. I mean, we, as much as I love to make fun of certain musicians, that's not what we're about here.
No.
We try to focus on the positives because the world's got enough negatives as it is.
Absolutely.
And besides, why would you want to talk about a musician you dislike?
I don't know. Because the musicians that I don't... Let's put it this way. The music that I don't care for, I don't spend any time listening to it.
Yeah, just don't listen to it.
I really can't
You can't
afford to take the time
you
can't
really offer...
Not that I really want to bash music. I don't like to bash music.
You can't really offer a good perspective either.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't like it and you don't listen to it, you can't really offer a valid opinion, can you?
I don't think so. Anyway.
I agree on that. So,
yeah.
But anyway.
So let's get started here with our top 5 albums of 2023.
Let's get into the albums and the bands that we do like.
Now, here, before we get started real quick, because as we always do this with these challenges, we create rules for ourselves.
We have to.
So, we have some rules here. So, when choosing our top 5 albums of 2023, our first rule is, let's see. Okay. The first rule of Fight Club is that, wait a minute. Okay.
I think that's the wrong rule set here.
Wrong script here. Okay.
I think you got Brad Pitt's by mistake.
Ooh, Brad Pitt. Ooh. Okay. All right. Okay. Here we are. Here we go. Okay. So we only had 2 rules. First rule was the album had to be released between January 1st, 2023 and December 31st, 2023.
Yep.
Now, some artists...
Seems obvious, but yes.
Right. But some artists, they announced albums to be potentially released in 2023, but it didn't come to fruition.
Right.
We know some albums have been pushed back and things like that. So if it wasn't actually released, like you could listen to it on Spotify or Apple Music or YouTube or physically buy it.
Your streaming service of your choice.
Yeah, it didn't count.
Yeah.
Okay. And then our second rule is it had to be an album.
Yes.
No EPs.
No EPs. Though we could do honorable mentions of EPs because there were definitely some EPs that we enjoyed a lot this year.
There were a couple that I had if we wanted to touch upon that. But
absolutely, I have at least one that I can talk about here.
I do too. But,
but
it had to be an actual album of songs.
Yes, we decided it had to be classified officially as an album.
Yes.
So just to keep things on a level playing field. You
Absolutely. Know? So those were our very technical rules, and I need to watch Fight Club again.
we watched it like 2 weeks ago.
So, yeah,
it's a good movie.
It's a great movie.
All
right. So let's start off with we're gonna do this 1 through 5.
Okay.
Our top 5 albums. Number 1 is our absolute favorite.
Yes.
Number 5 is
one that we still love. But
it's not up to number 1, I guess.
Up to number 1.
I don't know.
It's typical technicalities and weird idiosyncrasies of top 5s, you know? It's just 5 albums that you love. Which ones do you love the most? We managed to put them in order somehow. And we're going to go from quote-unquote least favorites of our favorites
and that's
to
very loose.
Favorite of our favorites, I guess. I guess if you want to call it that way. So
this was hard.
It kind of was.
This was hard. It took, I mean, I had a list, but it took me a while.
I got my top 2 because they were albums that I just constantly went back to.
No.
And just got stuck on this year, basically. But 3 through 5 was pretty tough. And number 3 was actually an album that I went back and listened to. I didn't. Yeah. It was one of those albums that I didn't hear when it first came out.
I had a few of those.
But I ended up going back and listening to it and being like, wow, this is phenomenal.
Yeah. I had a few of those, but this was not easy. We were very fortunate in 2023.
So much good music.
All right, so number 5, Orion, what was your choice?
My choice for number 5 was Hackney Diamonds by the Rolling Stones.
Really?
Yes. It was between 2 albums for my number 5. Number 5 was the last one that I decided.
Okay.
And it was between Hackney Diamonds by the Rolling Stones and 6 by Extreme.
Okay.
And my, tiebreaker there was that as much as I loved the new Extreme album that came out last year, Rolling Stones album was more consistent to me. Nothing against Extreme, but I think 6 starts to fall off a little bit after track 5.
Okay.
The entire album of Hackney Diamonds is just
Hackney Diamonds is
so great.
Solid.
It's so great.
I can't say enough about the Stones.
And this is Stones. I don't listen. I like a lot of 60s, 70s music, but it's not the main thing I listen to, right? So I'm not a fanatic of the Rolling Stones or anything like that.
I am. I love the Stones. I love Keith. I love Mick. Amazing music.
But and I think they're great, but they're not one of the bands that I think of when I think of favorite bands, right?
Right. That's fine.
So listening to this album and loving it as much as I did, and listening to it and being like, wow, this is just modern Rolling Stones.
It is.
This is really, really cool.
Yeah. Oh, I'm happy. Orion's first Rolling Stones album.
that isn't a lie.
I know it is. But I'm like so happy. Like you need a t-shirt. Baby's first Rolling Stone album.
But the guys sound great. You know, I mean, rock and roll legends here. Even after the unfortunate passing of Charlie. Aww. On the drums, Charlie Watts. They managed
one of the greatest of all time.
They managed to put together such an incredible album, and Charlie's on a few tracks.
I know he's on a couple of tracks,
which is just fantastic. So,
and remember, Mick and Keith, they're 80.
Yeah,
they're 80. They're going 80. On tour this year, as you know, of course. We all know, sponsored by ARP.
Yeah,
I want to be if I make it to 80. I want to be like. I don't know how to play guitar and be on stage, but I mean, you know what I mean. I still want to be.
You still want to be kicking ass.
I still want to be creative. I still want to be writing. I still want to be doing that kind of stuff. And I mean, I was watching Keith on interviews. You know, he went on Howard Stern and stuff. That was a great interview. And he just does not remind me of like he's 80. You know, it's just the way he talks and the gleam in his eyes and the way he approaches the guitar, and
he still got it. That's for damn sure.
It's just so awesome.
Yeah, like Angry, Dreamy Skies, Sweet Sounds of Heaven, featuring Lady Gaga.
Oh my god,
that's like honestly, maybe this is a hot take. Sweet Sounds of Heaven feels almost like a modern Give Me Shelter.
Really?
Kind of like it feels
with the vocals.
It feels like a modern kind of I don't want to say successor, counterpart.
But it could
counterpart
be with how the
Give Me Shelter.
Are.
It sounds kind of similar to that.
Oh, Lady Gaga is phenomenal.
Yeah, she does great on that song. Piano and vocals, by the way.
Her vocals, just give me the chills.
Yeah.
She is so talented.
So I mean, those are like kind of my three like favorites off of this. It's just it's great, like rock and roll, honky tonk blues type of shit that the Rolling Stones have always been known for. Yep. It's just glossed up to a modern standard in the best kind of way.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
I completely agree.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
It's like if I had to give it like a rating, it's like a 90 out of 100 or something for me.
Oh, this makes me so happy. I'm just like sitting here with a big old grin on my face. I'm gonna get you a little t-shirt. Yeah. This is so good. This is so good.
Oh god, I need to put that in the YouTube thumbnail. Just make a little shirt that says "Baby's first Rolling Stone album." That's too good.
There we go. We got the artwork for the YouTube video.
We got an idea for the thumbnail.
I was actually kind of concerned about that. I was like, who's doing the thumbnail for the YouTube video? Because I have no idea what we're doing.
You got it last time. There we go. I'll throw it together this time.
Okay, that sounds great. So keep an eye out for the little pink T-shirt with the trademark Rolling Stones tongue on it. So God. There we go.
Alrighty. So Rose, I'll pass it over to you.
Okay.
What is your number 5?
My number 5 is Mammoth WVH.
Ooh.
Mammoth 2.
Yeah.
Of course.
I was just saying the other day that's an album that I have to listen to again.
Yes, you must listen to it.
Because I listened to it a couple times when it first came out, but it ended up kind of on the back burner because I think the Metallica album came out pretty shortly after that.
No, Mammoth 2 actually came out in August.
Oh, did it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just forgot about it then. Fuck me.
I had a whole Saturday where I was just listening to this whole album the entire day. Like, it started at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't turn it off until 10 o'clock at night. I'm one of those annoying people. I just put the album on, and it just plays over and over and over and over.
I remember liking this album a lot when I listened to it. Yeah.
Yes. So if you don't know... of course, Wolfgang Van Halen is the son of the late Edward Van Halen.
The late and great.
Yes. And really, Wolfie is the quintessential one-man band next to Dave Grohl.
Yeah.
Especially Dave Grohl in the first Foo Fighters album. Mm-hmm. The second album, Mammoth 2, it really picks right up where his debut album left off. And I absolutely love Wolf's sound. It's a mix of rock, but it's also like good mid-2000s music.
It is, yeah.
Just that tone and that sound to it. Of course, Wolf, he can play drums, he can play guitar, he can play bass, he can sing. He's kind of like you, Orion. He can do just a little bit of everything and sound amazing.
He's like me, except like a million times better at all 4 of those things.
Well, I'm not going to say anything, but you're very talented. So, but really, really a one-man band, which I think is awesome.
Absolutely.
This album is heavier than the first, where you've really got some attitude now from Wolf, which I like.
Good.
Yeah, a lot of...
I want to say, too, really quick, not to interrupt you, but no, I love how Wolf does his music videos.
Oh, yeah.
As well.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, it's just a band of all of him.
Of him.
You know, it's four hymns.
Wearing sometimes different clothes, sometimes wearing the same. Yeah.
It's really it's just a really fun concept for the music videos.
It really is. I mean, you know, too bad he can't do that on stage.
Right.
In that sense.
Just
but, I mean, no, he actually has an actual band that he tours with. But yeah, just get some doppelgangers that, you know, they wear a wig that looks like him and they all like dress the same or something. That would be funny.
Yeah, I had to bring that up.
Yeah.
Like,
no,
his music videos are like half the fun.
His videos are very
with
fun.
His stuff sometimes.
Yeah. And one of the things that I really like about this album is that a lot of the lyrics deal basically with how much people suck and all the shit that they say to him on social media. Because, I mean, if you've ever had a social media account, which I know we're all guilty of, follow him, because some of the things that people say to him are just absolutely outlandish. I mean,
and then some of his response,
like calling that one guy a grape, was just amazing. This was back before his dad died, but saying
like,
that
you dehydrated grape or something like that. I forget what it was. And then
another one before his dad died where I think this was back like in 16 or 17 or something. And the person basically was saying along the lines of, well, you know, what does your dad do? He doesn't do anything anymore. And Wolfie said, actually, he's taking up scrapbooking. I mean, it was so funny. So, you know, he's
very talented, got a great sense of humor.
Yeah, so. But he's very good at clapping back at the trolls.
Yep.
I think the singing is fantastic. I think actually his voice has gotten better since his debut album.
Oh, absolutely. No, I thought the same thing listening to it, actually. Yeah. He is it's really fun to watch somebody like evolve.
It is.
And progress musically, and I think that's kind of what we're seeing with Wolf between the first Mammoth WVH album and the second one.
Yeah.
From my recollection, it's very similar to the first album. It almost, funnily enough, it almost mirrors the Van Halen albums.
It really does.
Where it takes a lot of the stuff that was present on the first album and on the 2 album, it makes that stuff just a little bit better.
It enhances it.
Yeah.
And it advances it too, in that sense.
So it's it's a good continuation to WVH1.
It's like you got the sequel.
Yeah.
Kind of like how Van Halen did it. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. I think from what I remember, it turned out pretty well. So.
Yeah, I think so. So that's my number 5.
That's a fair pick.
Number 4. What's your number 4 choice, Orion?
My number 4... Maybe it's a little low, but number 4 is "But Here We Are" by Foo Fighters.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It still made the top 5. Let's remember that here.
Yeah.
Foo Fighters, my second favorite band to have Dave Grohl in it.
What was the first?
Couldn't imagine. I mean, there was this band called Nirvana that had this guy on drums that kind of looked like Dave Grohl. I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
He's the one who likes all our pretty songs.
Stop! You're torturing the viewers.
The listeners.
You're torturing you're singing is so bad it hurts their eyes. Great job.
Hey.
Great job, me.
I never said I could sing.
Great job, me. But yes, Foo Fighters. But Here We Are. Of course, this comes shortly after the passing of the sudden passing of drummer Taylor Hawkins. Yeah. Which was very sad.
Very
to hear
tragic.
about.
So. Rest in peace, Taylor.
And there is a lot of emotion on this album, I feel. Yes. I think the last 2 tracks, The Teacher and Rest alone, honestly put that album in contention for my top 5.
Yeah.
Because between those 2 songs, I mean, it's so damn good. But then the rest of the album is fantastic on top of that.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, just Rest is a fantastic song. It's such a fantastic song.
I agree.
That really... It really does kind of feel like Dave processing grief and putting it into a song.
Yeah.
And not just not just the grief of of losing Taylor Hawkins, but of also losing his mother.
He lost his mother.
Because what is the line, like, had another dream of you waking up in the Virginia sun or something like that? And his mother's name was Virginia, correct?
Yes, even though he grew up in Virginia, just outside of Washington, D.C. So I think that's an interesting twist how he wrote that.
Yeah, but I think, and maybe this is just me being a selfish Nirvana fan, but I think of him and Kurt as well.
I went
especially with the line, "I had another dream of you." For some reason, that line always makes me think of Kurt.
Because
I don't know why.
Because Dave dreams of Kurt. You need to read.
I need to read his book.
You really need to read his book. If you have if you have not read Dave Grohl's The Storyteller, you need to read about it. Yeah. You need to read it and read about. His time in Nirvana and afterwards, after Kurt's death. And yes, he does dream of Kurt, or as he says, Kurt comes to him in dreams. Yeah. So I went through and I read the lyrics of all the songs on this album, and there is a lot in there. I think there is some of Dave's thoughts and feelings about Kurt. I think a lot of it is all rolled up in there,
it's everybody that he's lost.
His another one, a really good friend of his best friend that he lost. So things about his dad. There's a lot in this album.
It is just a lot of. The whole album lyrically is just a lot of that. It still sounds like the same old Foo Fighters.
Absolutely. They're always going to have that sound.
But if you dig a little bit deeper into the lyrics, it is really encompasses the name of the album. It really forms the first, because the title of this album grammatically is a fragment.
Absolutely.
But here we are. So I think diving into the lyrics kind of gives you the first part of that. Mm-hmm. Here we've gone through so much. All of this has happened. So much has been lost. Mm-hmm. But here we are. We're
still standing.
We're still moving forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Heavy hearts, perhaps, but still moving forward.
And changed, obviously.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think for, it's really remarkable having such a high quality album after the passing of such an integral band member.
Remember, Dave did all the drumming on the album.
Yes,
he did all of the drumming.
Just fantastic. Yeah. I will say that's another thing that I love about this album. I hate the circumstances, but I love hearing Dave on drums again.
I do too. I absolutely hate to be like that, because when I listened to this on headphones, I love Taylor on drums.
It really sucks that Taylor Hawkins passed away. But Dave was a phenomenal fill-in, of course.
Absolutely.
I love hearing Dave Grohl drum. I love watching Dave Grohl drum.
Absolutely.
As somebody who partakes in a little bit of tomfoolery on the drums myself, he is one of my favorite drummers of all time.
Yeah.
So that pushes this album even just a little bit higher, honestly, for me.
Yeah.
Just what a good album.
Hey, Dave Grohl, if you happened upon this episode, here's another young person that you influenced.
Hi.
Okay? 22 years old, just remember.
Hi, Mr. Grohl.
I wish, though, I do hope some musicians know how much they are still influencing the younger generations.
Absolutely.
So,
Rose, I'll hand it over to you again before I start bawling.
I know.
This album makes me sad.
I know.
Rest is another legit though. Like Rest is another one of those songs that makes me tear up.
I think if you don't tear up when you listen to that song, I'm pretty cold-hearted. And it makes me tear up.
Yeah.
I think if it doesn't make you tear up, maybe you need to check yourself.
Yourself.
Honestly.
Yeah. But yeah, Rose, I'll hand it over to you.
Okay.
What is your number 4?
It may be a little bit surprising to you with how low it is, but for me, it's LA Guns Black Diamonds.
Is it really?
I knew you were going to say it like that to me.
I honestly, I was thinking it was going to be like number 2.
Well, yeah. It's been shuffled with everything that I've listened to, you know.
Okay, I mean, fair enough.
I could really swap it with my number 3, kind of. Maybe it just depends on what type of mood I'm in. But
Sure.
I've already gushed over this album. You can go back to episode 7.5 for my thoughts on it. I think Black Diamonds just shows how well LA Guns has aged and matured in their songwriting. I think Tracii Guns has always been a standout guitarist. He's like fine wine. He just gets better and better with age, with recordings. He's more polished, but he's still gritty. He still does those insane ass solos that I absolutely love.
Tracii Guns, another one of those underrated like glam metal era guitarists.
Absolutely, and
quite a few of those, I'd say.
I have a really hard time though thinking of LA Guns as glam, even though I know that they were put kind of pigeonholed.
They fit into that sound.
They did.
I think that kind of like.
Well, they were more sleaze rock, like Faster Pussycat, you know.
That glam sleaze kind of sound. Yeah. I mean, really, those go hand in hand.
Yeah,
you know?
They wore makeup. You know.
Yeah.
Glam.
So I mean, it's
kind of like how Motley Crue was glam for most of the 80s.
But their sound was heavier than most glam metal bands.
Right.
You know, Motley's was.
Right.
We both provided our thoughts back in season 1 when this album actually first dropped. We did a full little special little mini episode on it. Again, episode 7.5. If you want to check that out, that is exclusively on Spotify. Season 1 is exclusively on Spotify.
Correct.
So
not on YouTube.
Go check it out if you'd like to hear our full thoughts. But yeah, I liked this album a lot as well.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty damn good.
I think so too.
In general.
It makes me look forward to the next LA Guns album, which I know they are still on tour. I think they're touring for a good chunk of this year, so it may be a couple years before we get a new album, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I'll be listening, waiting for it.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
I do, on the subject of LA Guns, I do did the Rileys LA Guns album ever come out? Or is that got delayed, didn't it?
It got delayed due to Steve Riley's untimely death last year. I don't believe it's been released yet. Okay. I have not checked, honestly, because we're still kind of new into the year. They just said sometime in 2024 that it was coming out. Okay. I don't know how much they had recorded of it before his death.
I had forgotten about that because I just happened to think, because of course you think LA Guns, then you got to think of the other half of it.
Absolutely, you have to think of Steve Riley's LA Guns, but I would like to hear it. So
yeah, definitely.
Hopefully it does come out this year, and we can get a listen.
Hopefully it makes it out of limbo, because like the two or 3 singles they released off it, I forget. Those were good.
Those were good. Yeah.
So hopefully we get to hear that this year.
Absolutely. All right.
Yeah, number
3, Orion.
Number 3.
What you got?
Number 3 for me.
Yeah.
This is an album. This is the album that I said before I didn't listen to it when it first came out, but I went back to it.
Okay.
This is In Times New Roman by Queens of the Stone Age.
Oh, yes. This is an excellent album.
Yes.
It was like number 6, I think, for me.
Fair enough. Honorable mention territory.
Again, this was hard.
Still the top 10 for you. So Queens of the Stone Age. I remember I made the comment a little earlier about how Foo Fighters is my second favorite band for Dave Grohl ever to partake in. Queens of the Stone Age is the third. But they're still good. I still think they're pretty damn good.
Yes.
And even though I haven't really been following them super closely, I will admit, this album is fantastic.
It is fantastic. I put it on one Saturday and I listened to it for like 4 hours. Yeah. Seriously. It's excellent.
This is rock and roll.
It is.
This is rock and roll.
If you
want a modern example of what rock and roll should probably be sounding like these days.
Correct. I agree.
This is what you want to look at.
Yep. In Times New Roman by Queens of the Stone Age. Yes.
Yeah.
Grab it. Listen to it.
It's great because it still carries the sound of Songs for the Deaf.
Yes.
Which was that their first album, I believe?
Don't quote me.
First or second. I apologize. We're not experts at Queens of the Stone Age around here. That's the only other Queens of the Stone Age album that I've listened to. For the record.
Okay.
Which had Dave Grohl on drums.
Yes.
So
I think a lot of people listen to that album because they're like, oh, Dave Grohl's on drums. Everybody runs over and listens to it.
Yeah.
Which is fine. We all do things like that.
But hearing a lot of the same sounds, maybe even just a little bit more refined on this album, and almost taken to like another another level.
Absolutely,
honestly.
they're a very much matured, advanced Queens of the Stone Age. I mean, that's what I got from listening to this album in comparison to their other albums.
I agree fully.
Yeah.
It's just a more mature Queens of the Stone Age. It's got some fantastic tracks on it. Negative Space is one of my personal favorites.
Is excellent. Emotion Sickness.
Emotion Sickness is good as well.
Nominated for a Grammy.
It is, yes.
Best rock song.
Rightfully so, having listened to it now.
Yeah, I really like that song.
Obscenery, Paper Machete.
Mm-hmm.
I think even Made to Parade is pretty damn good as well.
Yes, it is. The whole album is solid.
Just the whole album.
To me, there's no skippable songs on that album, and
not at all.
I really try not to skip songs. I listen to full albums. I'm old, so I do that. But
excuse me, you go through albums like, your third or fourth listen or something like that, and you're really starting to get a feel for the songs, and you're like, I'll skip this one right now because I don't feel like listening to it.
Right.
Yeah, that still hasn't happened.
No,
for me.
No,
with
I need to listen to this again. It's been a couple weeks since I have, so I need to put it back on.
That hasn't happened for any of these albums that I've mentioned to this point. They are all albums that I will just put on and let play because they all keep a level of quality.
Yes, I completely agree. It's the same way with my 5 too.
All albums in this top 5 meet that standard, and that's another reason. Jumping back to my number 5 very quickly. Why I kept number 6 by Extreme, or why I kept the album 6 by Extreme at kind of like my number 6.
Right.
Because there are a couple tracks on there that I would potentially skip at times.
I remember you mentioning that to me. I've only listened to that album. I don't know if I've listened to that album enough to formulate an opinion on it. If it kind of drops off a little bit, I think it kind of does. But again, I need to go back and re-listen to that.
Yeah.
There's so much to listen to and re-listen to. It's a good problem. It's a good problem to have.
It is.
It's a good problem to have.
Alrighty, so is it your number 2 now?
No, it's my number 3, dear.
It's your number 3. Yes.
Well, my number 3 is the Rolling Stones' Hackney Diamonds.
There you have it.
I think we pretty much already said pretty much what I have written down.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be on there somewhere.
Oh, absolutely. But what I like about the Stones is that this album sounds like them, but it's not stale. It's not the same thing that they keep doing and keep doing and keep doing. It's not. It's very fresh, but with that same sound of who the Stones are as a band.
Absolutely.
You've got that blues influence in there. Of course, as we all know, Keith, very heavily influenced by the blues. And it's a little bit more blues heavy, I think Hackney Diamonds is, but that's a fantastic thing. You've got that wonderful layer of just pure rock over it with the guitars. Keith is just... I love Keith Richards, okay, for so many reasons. If you haven't read his book, you really need to read his book because you're missing out on a lot. I mean, he talks about setting hotel rooms on fire and not even realizing it, okay? I mean, it's just, his book is fantastic.
Just rock star things.
But he just bangs out those riffs and still does those crazy, crazy solos, but then he gives you so much mood music as well. I mean, he's amazing at 80 years of age with arthritis. He sounds fantastic. And yes,
still is able to get so much out of his instrument.
Absolutely. And yes, Charlie is on this album. He's on 2 songs, Mess It Up and Live by the Sword.
Yep.
And again, I can't say enough about Lady Gaga. Sweet Sounds of Heaven, that's just a song that I just repeat. I'll listen to the whole album, but then I'm like, okay, I gotta repeat Sweet Sounds of Heaven. I gotta repeat again.
On my first listen, I think I repeated that at least once.
I love hearing her and Mick just go back and forth. I mean, it's
especially when they're real up high, like
yes.
Mick can still get up there, man. He still has a falsetto. Like, holy shit.
And I mean, people have said that he still sounds like that live, which is that's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
And, Lady Gaga, she can get that high, but then she's got such a richness to her
such
voice.
A wonderful low register.
Absolutely. And it just her voice makes me think of so many things. Like when I listen to her, she evokes a lot of emotion. Let's put it that way.
She's a very soulful singer.
Absolutely. I think Hackney Diamonds is a solid album by a band, of course, that is beyond iconic. that has influenced hundreds, if not thousands, of musicians. And I just think Hackney Diamonds is a great entry to their catalog. I'm not going to say it's their last album because it's the Rolling Stones and Keith Richards is going to outlive us all.
Yep.
So, whatever number this is in the hundreds of albums that they will eventually release, I think it's a great entry.
The year is 2054. Rolling Stones has just released their 40th album, Old Hotel.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're going on tour sponsored by some whatever arthritis cream is popular at that time, And I still won't be
sponsored by Skynet.
Sponsored by Skynet. Absolutely. And I still will not be able to fucking afford tickets.
Nope.
I'm still going to be poor. Alrighty. What's your number 2, Orion?
Okay, my number 2. So, remember how I said we're not going to see too much new stuff on here?
Right.
I've got a new thing for you.
He lied.
Yes. So, number 2 for me is an album called Happy Pills by an artist of the name of Utsupi.
Okay.
So most of you probably don't know that name. It's
No.
most likely not going to ring a bell at all.
No, I don't.
So Utsupi is a Japanese music producer. He makes all kinds of like heavy groove trap metal music.
Okay.
And he includes vocals in his songs using a program called Vocaloid. Now, if you've been around the internet for a while, you've probably heard of the character Hatsune Miku, and if so, you most likely know what a Vocaloid is.
I don't, though.
But if not,
explain it for us old
Rose's
folks.
Case, so it's a vocal synthesizing program that uses voice banks created from real people's voices that you can use as an alternative if you want, especially a female vocal, but don't have a way to deliver on that front.
Okay.
So you can you can kind of relate it to a talk box for a guitar if you want.
I was gonna say it sounds like a very, very sophisticated version of a talk box from the 70s.
Yeah, if you want something to kind of ground it to, that's what you can kind of relate it to. Except it's a entirely different program that you can use independently without an instrument.
Is it like AI?
The newest vocal synthesizers are created with the assistance of AI.
Okay.
Believe it or not, the voice banks are created with that. But the original was the older ones, because they really started getting popular around 2009 or so.
Okay.
2008, 2009. They were all just samples from real people's voices that were compiled and synthesized.
Right.
So, and of course, this is a thing that's mostly big in Japan.
Right.
Which you probably could have assumed by Utsupi being a Japanese music producer.
Right.
The first Vocaloids did actually release here in the U.S., but they have massively eclipsed popularity over in Japan.
Okay.
So,
okay. All right.
So, but yeah, so an explanation for that. I would absolutely recommend you go listen to this. It may be a weird choice, but there
I don't think it's weird.
A ton of really groovy, really heavy riffs on here. Just a fantastic showcase of what you can do with somewhat modern technology.
Yeah.
On a musical project.
Yeah.
Utsupi
sounds intriguing.
Utsupi's been around for quite a while at this point. I've been a fan of his since I was in my mid-teens.
Okay. So for a while now, for almost 10 years.
Yeah.
Orion really likes Japanese music, and he's exposed me to some different Japanese artists and some things like that, and it's just really, really cool.
Yeah. But obviously I was super stoked when I saw that he was releasing an album this year, because that doesn't come around super, super often. He mainly releases singles.
Okay.
So yeah, and listening to a whole album of that, it's got a few singles on it, but it's what Utsupi does sometimes is when he gets a song onto an album, sometimes he'll change it up just a little bit. Okay. And the couple of songs that he took from singles to putting on the album and spruced up a little bit sound even better.
Oh, cool.
So, highly, highly, highly recommend you go and check this out. This is one of the albums that I was absolutely stuck on last year and continue to be into this year.
Yeah.
So, go and check it out. Be adventurous. It's a lot of fun to listen to.
Yeah, seriously. Check out some Japanese artists.
If you're a metal fan, it's a lot of fun to listen to.
Yeah. Awesome.
So might take a little bit. Might take a little bit to get used to the vocals, but it is because they're inherently robotic sounding,
right,
and perhaps even a little unnatural at some points. But
that's where AI scares
me. They are programmed really well.
Are they?
He's a fantastic producer when it comes to that stuff. And the final track on this features probably some of the most emotive vocals that I have ever heard from a vocal synthesizer before.
Really?
So.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Go check it out.
That's crazy to me. AI is crazy to me.
That's my little speech about my number 2 album. Rose, what is yours? I'm sure much more simplistic that does not need a thesis.
Mine is the Foo Fighters album, but here we are. I think I pretty.
There it is.
But there it is. But here we are. I think we pretty much have said all that we wanted to say about. But here we are. Again, it's definitely Foo Fighters, but it's melancholy, angry, wounded, honest. It's very, very raw, but here we are. Of course, Pat Smear, he still demonstrates that pure punk guitar in the title track and throughout. He's incredible. Pat Smear he's just awesome. He gives the Foos that perfect dash of sass and attitude and punk, especially on the song Nothing at All. I really love that song.
Oh yeah.
And honestly, I also think it's some of the best songwriting ever done by Dave Grohl. I think it's some of his best songwriting ever.
I would agree with that.
And of course, this album and a couple of the songs are nominated for Grammy Awards.
Yep.
Very much deserving of any kind of award.
Absolutely. Yeah. I really like, too, I forgot to mention it earlier, but I really like on this album how there are some songs that just feature just straight up guitar noise. There's not really like melody or anything going on. Nope. It's just in the background. And I think it's just that rawness. Some people may not enjoy that, but I personally love the sound of it. It adds to the feeling of kind of what is going on in the mind of somebody who like whatever. Sometimes I equate like songs and lyrics to like a certain character's perspectives or something, right?
Yeah.
Like each song is a different character or something like that, and it's like that's kind of what it is sometimes in this sort of state of emotion. There's just so much fucking noise in your head and that won't stop.
And actually, that guitar sound is what actually soothes my mind. It calms my anxiety.
Yeah.
I can't listen to that brown noise, that green noise shit. Makes my anxiety go through the roof.
Yeah.
But you put on a loud guitar with feedback or just noise, I'm as calm as a baby.
Yeah.
I don't know what that says about my mental state. You can say a lot of things about my mental state. Yeah. Yes, I do have anxiety. But yeah. So to me, that that album, I listened to it on headphones and it's so raw and emotional, but at the same time, it's soothing.
Yeah. It's just a really good.
It's phenomenal.
Melancholic kind of feeling.
Yeah.
Album that really it fits I need to put together like a low vibes playlist or something like that because I don't like to listen to 100% heavy thrash and metal all the time. Sometimes I just sometimes I really do just need a little kind of more mellow backgroundish type of songs. And I think,
when you fall asleep listening to Motorhead turned up to 20.
Hey now, for your information, it was turned up to 40, as Lemmy, our god, would want.
You're Lemmy all the way down the hall. Not a bad thing, but at 8 o'clock in the morning? It's all right. All right, and now the moment you have all been waiting for. Our number 1 albums of 2023.
Do we just want to say them at the same time?
I think so.
3, 2, 1.
72 Seasons by Metallica.
Yep.
We didn't see each other's list either.
We didn't. No, we did not.
But we just
did
knew.
Not reveal. I think we talked a little bit about certain albums that might be going on there, but we did not reveal the order. We did not reveal the albums that ended up on there in the end.
Nope.
But we both absolutely love this album.
Absolutely. We just played it nonstop in the house, in the car.
We have 3 copies in the house.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 or 3.
2 or 3.
I've got it on vinyl and CD. I have it digitally as well. So
I do too.
Yeah, so at least 3 or 4 copies.
3 or 4 copies. Yeah.
And it has just been to this day on a basically nonstop loop.
Yeah.
I feel like I've listened to it at least every other day.
I think you have, honestly. Yeah.
It's oh man, it's so fucking good.
Well, I think what it is though too, I really never thought that we would get one more studio album.
I really wasn't thinking either. I
kind of thought that they were done after Hardwired.
I kept hearing whispers about a new album, right? But
absolutely.
I was kind of thinking like, I don't know if they're ever really going to get together because it took so long to get Hardwired together. It took 8 years to get Hardwired together.
Well, and then James, of course, went back to rehab in 19, and I was just concerned that
it didn't look the greatest. It didn't look to be the greatest environment for a new album from the boys. But
absolutely. And yes, there were rumbles about them working there. Lars posted a couple things on Instagram about sweating over his drum kit or whatever.
Yep.
You know Lars.
But I was kind of thinking maybe like just a new single or something, right?
I thought so too. No.
And then all of a sudden Lux Eterna drops.
And I love how they announced it. It wasn't it wasn't like little trickles or an announcement about an announcement. They were like, okay, here's our new album, here's our new single, here's our tour. Here,
have fun.
Here,
take it all.
Take it all. Take it all. Take it all. And we took it all.
Lux Eterna came out and said in the description of the YouTube video, hey, new album coming out April 14th. It's like...
Oh, and here's a tour, too. New merchandise.
Just makes my fucking head explode.
I get emails almost daily since I'm a 5th member. I love it. I'm so happy.
And the final product is just so good.
It's fantastic.
We did an entire episode on this album when it came out. Again, available only on Spotify. So if you want to hear our full thoughts, go and listen to it. Hear us wax poetic about this album. But it absolutely is just like, okay, sure enough, Metallica is not in their prime anymore, all right? But this is the absolute best album that we could have asked for a, like, not prime Metallica.
If that's what Metallica sounds like, not in their prime?
Exactly.
They sound better not in their prime than a lot of artists sound in their prime.
Yeah.
Did that make sense?
It did. It did to me.
Okay. Word salad.
The even better, because we're like 2 months away basically from being a year removed from this album.
That's crazy to think about.
Fucking crazy.
Holy shit.
But the songs that I said I was not the biggest fan of on this album have grown on me since.
Really?
So at this point, I just love the entire album. I will say, Crown of Barbed Wire for me is still like a,
Okay.
It's like,
because I was just gonna say, so you're sold on Crown of Barbed Wire?
For me, it's a, but. I'm gonna keep doing that because it's making Rose crack up. But You Must Burn.
Shadows Follow is my favorite.
I fucking love Shadows Follow.
I love Shadows Follow.
But
they wrote that song for me.
I was kind of cold. I was kind of cold on You Must Burn, ironically. When I first listened to it, it has grown on me so much since then, and the album it's just like overall it scores even higher for me now than it did when it first came out.
Yeah.
And I first listened to it the first like 5-6 times. Throughout, I've probably listened to it about 100 times by now.
Probably, yeah, same here.
If not more. And has just gotten better. It's just gone up for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's everything. It's everything that I liked about Hardwired.
Yeah. And Hardwired was good.
Yes. But it's better.
It's better.
It's everything that I liked about Hardwired, but better. It's everything that I wanted out of Hardwired, that I was like missing on Hardwired. Everything that I wanted there is pretty much there in 72 Seasons.
Okay.
The only gripe that I will ever have with this is I do wish that Kirk put just a little more time into his solos. That is it. That is my only complaint. At the very least, you can fucking hear them on this album because you barely could on Hardwired.
Thank you. But if that is Kurt not putting all of his effort into the solos, which you're going to hear it more than I am because I'm not a musician. Well, I mean, I can't even barely even play guitar. So
for the record, Kirk has even gone on record saying since that he did not like plan out his solos from 72 Seasons. They were pretty much all done on the spot.
But that sounds like Kirk, though, to a certain degree.
Yeah, I mean, it's what I expect from Kirk.
It's
what I expect from Kirk at this point. You know, I don't expect him to write another fucking Fade to Black, right?
You can't write another fucking Fade to Black. I mean, you really cannot.
But I don't.
But if that is Kirk not putting in all the effort,
yeah, and it still sounds pretty.
That's how phenomenal of a guitarist he is.
Yeah.
Don't at me. So. Yeah.
I don't know. That's just like, that's my slightest gripe, and even then I really don't fucking care.
Yeah.
I think for the most part the solos sound pretty good. It's still amazing. It's Kirk Hammett doing his thing.
Kirk Hammett thing.
I enjoy listening to.
Same here.
So it's not much of a complaint for me.
And Lars being Lars on drums.
Of course.
He's being amazing.
Yes, in the best way.
In the best way.
In the best Lars way.
Yes, in the best of Lars way.
This is just fantastic. It's the boys at top form putting out the best, what I think is probably some of the best material they have put out in the modern age, honestly. Time. Like, Death Magnetic was really good, but 72 Seasons has since surpassed it for me. Honestly. It has honestly surpassed me.
I agree.
It has honestly surpassed Death Magnetic for me.
Yeah. No, I can easily agree on that. So those were our top 5 albums of 2023. Yep. If you haven't listened to any of them, what are you waiting for? Yeah. Go out and listen.
It's been a year.
Yeah, get your Spotify, get your YouTube, go out and buy CDs. They're still out there. They're pretty inexpensive. Mm-hmm. One of the few things that's inexpensive nowadays. Yeah. Go out, get it, buy it.
Get a $5-10 CD.
Yes, listen to that.
Support the artists.
Yes, support your artists.
Yes.
Absolutely. All right, so since 2023 is over and, we're already a month into 2024, believe it or not.
Good Lord.
We have, some things hopefully to look forward to.
We do.
So we came up with a little segment called our top 3 music wishes of 2024.
Indeed. I think everybody kind of has those. As a music listener, you always kind of go into the year thinking about albums that were announced or something like that. You're like, oh man, I hope that comes out. Or like, these two musicians have been talking recently. I kind of hope they do something.
Right.
Yeah. Stuff like that. So we each came up with 3.
Yes.
Our first one being our most wanted.
Yes.
And Rose, I'll let you start off. Why not?
Do you want me to do all 3 of mine, or do we want to go back and forth?
Well, it depends. Are you keeping yours short or not?
Not my first one.
Well, go for your first one. I'll throw my first one out there because I'm going to be pretty short and sweet.
Well, I guess for my number one. Yeah. My number 1 is long. So, okay. Yeah. So I'll start off with my 3rd wish.
Okay,
fair enough. My 3rd wish.
We'll go 3 to 1.
Okay.
Like how we did with our top 5.
Yes, let's do that, okay? Important decisions being made here live on air as recording. Okay. Number 3. I wish for affordable tickets to a Rolling Stones concert.
Yeah, I feel you.
Please. The Stones, they are one of my favorite bands, and I haven't seen a ticket under $250 for their upcoming tour. Mm-hmm. What's bad is that if you pay $250, at least at the venue I was looking at that is closest to us, you're up in the rafters hanging out with a certain hockey team's Stanley Cup banners. Okay? Okay? I mean, you gotta pay thousands of dollars to be on the floor here.
Yeah.
I would absolutely love to see Keith play guitar live before I die, but I highly doubt I'll be able to do so. I don't understand. Why do they have to charge so much?
I don't know.
I know Ticketmaster is a ripoff. It's, unfair practices. I get all that, but
that was going to be my answer. Shit. That was going to be my answer after saying I didn't know because it popped in my head. Blame Ticketmaster.
Yeah.
I pretty much always blame Ticketmaster when it comes to concerts.
I mean, if you
horribly expensive.
I mean, we've gotten tickets through other venues that have been very reasonably priced.
Absolutely.
But
unless it's Kiss, I blame Ticketmaster.
Oh my god. I'm not even gonna qualify that.
Don't even start.
I'm not even gonna qualify that with an answer. Anyway, what's your number 3?
All right, my number 3. It is one that it's kind of one that I've had for a little bit. Excuse me. And it's one that is maybe a little odd because it's actually an artist that I don't listen to a whole lot.
Okay.
But I'd like to hear an acoustic album from one Post Malone.
Ooh. I like Post Malone.
I've been quite stuck on, during COVID, everybody was doing all kinds of shit for like charity and all kinds of stuff like that. And Post Malone did a charity live stream where he got together with a few different guys, most notably Travis Barker. Of Blink-182.
Yeah.
And did a bunch of Nirvana songs.
I think you told me about that. I haven't watched it though.
Yeah, and I have been going back to that pretty regularly.
Yeah.
Ever since it happened, and I was like, man, this is like really good. Post Malone can like play guitar, and
he's talented.
I like his voice a lot.
I do too.
Without all the autotune on it. And the dude is on record as a metalhead, so I'm like,
he is, yeah.
Can you do like an acoustic or like a rock album or like even just like a rock covers album or something like that?
That'd be awesome.
Like
I would listen to that.
Where you drop the autotune and just do like you and a guitar, and maybe call up Travis Barker again. I don't know, maybe
that would be very cool.
That's just something that I thought would be fantastic to hear for a while, and I continue wishing it as we go into the year of our Lord 2024.
I'll have to check that out. The Nirvana acoustic tribute is it on YouTube? I take it.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not fully acoustic. He does have some.
Oh, that's fine.
It is plugged in.
Yeah.
It's not unplugged.
It's not unplugged.
To clarify.
Yeah.
But just like I've heard him do songs on acoustic, and it's just like, man, it'd be so cool because I think his voice works really well.
I like his voice
without autotune, with that kind of acoustic guitar sound. He could almost be a country singer.
Really?
I don't know.
It's so?
Probably I'm probably spewing bullshit there, to be honest with you. But I just like I really like the sound of his raw voice, and I think he's a pretty solid guitarist, and he can at least pull off enough smoke and mirrors to make himself seem like a good guitarist, which is all you really need.
But I mean, he's worked with Ozzy on stuff and things like that. I think he's pretty diverse, in that sense, with the different people he's worked with and the different styles that he has. Hollywood's Burning is a good album.
I like listen to that album. I still haven't.
You need to. It's really good. But it's really good.
Yeah, so I'd love to see him explore even another step of versatility, with something like that.
Nice.
So, but that's my number 3.
Alrighty.
So my least priority music wish
of your wishes.
That's the one that I would lose the least shit over if it actually happened.
But it would still be cool.
I would still be very happy if it happened though. So your number 2, Rose.
My number 2.
What is it?
I want to hear the new Motley Crue album.
That's also my number 2.
Is it really? Yep. Is it really? So we have identical number 2s.
We have identical number 2s.
I know I spew shit about the Crew, but honestly, I love Motley Crue.
Oh, yeah.
I really do. I've been on a Motley.
They've made some good stuff.
They have. I've been on a Motley Crue kick lately. Been listening to a lot of their stuff, especially driving to and from work, and just listening to that Shout at the Devil album again.
Yeah.
They just create fantastic rock and roll music with an excellent beat. You've got buzzy guitar. You got, no matter what you think about Nicky's a fantastic writer. Mm-hmm. I think the album they did with John Corabi was fantastic. I've been listening to that one quite a bit lately. Mm. If you haven't listened to it, check it out. There's some great stuff in there. So John Corabi, he can sing. He did guitars on that album, things like that. So I'm interested in hearing what they've done with John 5 and John 5's versatility on the guitar. If you haven't listened to any of John 5's stuff, what are you waiting for? Listen to it. He's a fantastic guitarist.
Yeah, dude can play fucking anything.
Anything. He's fantastic. But I mean,
I've seen this man pick up an electric guitar and play it like a fucking banjo. Okay.
Yeah.
So
he's insanely talented. So my thing was like, they released this great album with John Corabi. Mm-hmm. What are they going to do?
What can they do with a different John?
Yeah, what can they do with a different John with John 5?
It's going to be really weird hearing Motley Crue without Mick Mars.
Of course it will be.
Doing riffs.
It was weird to hear Motley Crue without Vince on vocals.
Yeah. So I just want to hear it because like it's been talked about a lot.
Yeah, I thought they were mixing
it. Apparently it's like quote unquote done, and apparently it's like quote unquote reportedly good.
Yes, so that's what insiders are saying that have actually heard some of it.
I would like to hear at least a single off of it, guys.
But I can't find a release date. Now, watch, in the next couple of days, they'll, have a release date or something.
Legit,
like,
right?
We have to update this.
Yeah, when we can't, say anything about it immediately, when we're not planning an episode or anything like that, it'll just be like, hey, it's coming out in 2024.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, I really want to hear the new Motley Crue album.
Yeah.
Sooner than later. Please don't make us wait a whole year. Really, release it by this summer.
Yeah.
Please.
Be nice. Be nice before May. 2025. Or, before one of us dies.
Yeah. 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 Seriously.
Anyway.
All right.
Okay.
Number one
for me.
Number one for you, Orion.
It's Guns N' Roses related.
Okay.
But it's not related to their music exactly.
Okay.
Well, it is, but it isn't.
Okay.
It's related to live Guns N' Roses performances.
Okay.
I want Steven Adler playing with GNR again.
Oh, yes.
For at least one show this year.
That'd be fantastic.
I don't care. I know it's happened before. I know he's joined them for a stray show here and there.
Yeah.
I at least want to see Steven Adler back with Guns N' Roses one final time this year.
That would be amazing.
I really, really want to see it because the biggest thing for me that has been missing from this reunion has been Steven Adler.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Frank, he's a fine drummer. He seems like a great guy.
Yeah.
I've never thought that he fits the Guns N' Roses style.
Yeah, he's got a different type of drumming style that doesn't quite fit in with how their style is.
Matt Sorum's out of the question, I think, at this point.
We won't talk about Matt.
We won't.
For a variety of reasons.
Do some Google searches if you want to know about that.
Don't read his book.
Or do.
Ugh. Goodness gracious. To put it mildly.
I just want to see Steven Adler back. And again, as I said earlier, as someone who partakes in some drum tomfoolery, Steven Adler is amongst my top 5 favorite drummers.
Yeah.
And I've been watching YouTube videos of him playing Rocket Clean.
I've seen some of those
a lot recently.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, God, I want to see that dude back.
He still has it
with the guys. Okay, those videos were a few years back, but he still has it. I've seen more recent videos of him playing drums, and he is still absolutely as on point as he was before.
He was the beat and the swing of Guns N' Roses.
He really
Izzy was the heart and soul.
Yeah.
Stevie was the swing and the beat. Yeah.
And I think
that'd be amazing.
I think the stand-in Izzy that they have right now is
it's
fine.
not Gilby.
No, it's not Gilby.
Richard Fortus.
There you go, Richard Fortus.
I'm sitting here trying to think of his name. I'm like,
I prompted you to say that because my dumbass was thinking Gary Holt.
Oh no, dear, wrong band.
That's fucking Slayer.
Way wrong band. No, it's actually Exodus.
Exodus, but later on
Slayer, because he took over for Jeff Hanneman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny, I guess I have Exodus on the brain lately. I'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah, no, I think Richard Fortus does a fantastic, pretty fantastic job for filling in as replacement Izzy. Because
I don't even know if I really look at him as a quote unquote replacement Izzy.
He's a guitarist with dark hair and that kind of same shaped nose.
But that's a requirement to be the rhythm guitarist of Guns N' Roses. I mean, look at Gilby. Everybody thought Gilby was Izzy.
Yeah.
He'd go over to the side of the stage and people would be yelling for Izzy.
The only reason I say replacement Izzy for Richard Fortus is because A, for the bit, B, I have legit seen people mistake him for Izzy.
Well, but people mistook Gilby for Izzy as well,
So it's just like, okay, who is playing the part of Izzy Stradlin today? And it's Richard Fortus. Richard Fortus, I think, does fine. I like Melissa on keys. I think she does fantastic job.
Yeah, she's great.
Is Dizzy still doing some keys?
Yeah, he still does keys.
He does well. Yeah. He does well too.
But we need some. I think we need some Steven Adler.
Nothing against Frank. Again, I think he's a fine person. I think he's a fine drummer.
Yeah, he is.
I really, really, really just want Steven Adler.
I think it's a compatibility though of styles and sounds.
Yeah,
really.
Exactly.
And I think that's why sometimes some musicians, they just don't work with a band, especially a band that is already very well established, because you just have that kind of set. sense and that set sound of a band. I think it's hard sometimes to get a new person to fit into that. That's why
especially on like drums. I think drums and vocals affect the sound of a band the most.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. That's why with John Corabi, when he came in, yes, I know this happened 30 years ago. Okay, but I'm looking, this is just an example. But I mean, that's why Motley does sound so different on that album, even though that album is absolutely fantastic. But one of the key things of Motley Crue is Vince's yowling. We all know that. But at the same time, though, I'm interested in seeing what they do with John 5 on guitar.
It's kind of like a little bit of what we were talking about before we actually started this episode of like, Hagar versus Roth or like Anthrax, Belladonna versus Bush. You know, it's like, man, those just one little change in a band's lineup makes such a difference in all of these bands' sounds.
But here's the thing. It gives you a different sound to listen to.
It does. Absolutely.
Because honestly, I cannot take a side in the Roth, Hagar sound, okay?
I'll always be more for David Lee Roth.
I have opinions, especially about David Lee Roth, but the sound, I love Van Halen with both. And honestly, I do like the Van Halen 3 album that they did with Gary Cherone. I do.
I thought there was some good stuff on there, too.
There's some good stuff on there.
Too, honestly,
but it gives you, but yes, it does change the sound, but it gives you additional things to listen to.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've just always found myself gravitating more towards the David Lee Roth era group of songs. I think they did some great stuff with Hagar, Van Halen did.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just like with Motley Crue. Like I do think that I think I've heard a couple of songs that they did with John Corabi, and I think they're good.
They are good.
You know?
That album was really good.
But it's still it can sometimes be a very drastic shift in the sound, you know, and you wouldn't always think that. But go and listen to, and I mean, obviously Axl's voice plays a big part in this as well, but like go and listen to Live at the Ritz,
Oh, wow.
Go listen to that.
Wow.
And then listen to like, performance from
Not on This Lifetime tour.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to pinpoint a year there, but that's the,
well, we got to look in decades now anymore.
And I mean, you can really, like, you can hear a pretty big difference.
Yeah.
And
that's where age is a bitch.
Yeah.
Age is a bitch.
In the case of Axl, yeah.
People are like, oh, it's so wonderful to get older and be older. I'm going,
I don't
really?
think I've ever seen anybody say that, to be honest with you.
I have. I've heard people say that, and I'm going, really? Yeah. You like to have aches and pains in the morning? You like to pull your back out when you try to get out of bed? Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, to each his own. Whatever you like.
Fair enough.
I really don't want to twist my ankle when I walk down the steps because I'm getting older. So, whatever. Yeah.
But anyway, that tangent over. It's been it changes the band's sound a lot, and I just think that Guns N' Roses would be performing at a higher level, honestly, with Steven Adler.
Yeah.
Back.
Yeah.
So that's my number one, like, pipe dream, golden wish for this year. Even if it just happens for like one show or two or whatever.
That'd still be amazing.
I want to see Steven Adler back behind the kit.
Yeah.
For Guns N' Roses, at least one more time. So Rose, what's your number one?
Well, my number one also deals with Guns N' Roses.
Oh boy!
Of course,
we did not tell each other our music wishes.
We did not.
By the way,
Metallica is Orion's favorite band. My favorite band is Guns N' Roses. That's how this podcast came together. So why not?
And we both like both bands as well. You know, like we have our favorites, but for us, like, Metallica is probably number 2 for her. Guns N' Roses is probably number 2 or at least top 5 for me. So.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my wish, of course, has to do with Guns N' Roses. I want, and I'm just going to go on a tirade here.
Go for it.
I want a new Guns N' Roses album. In capital letters. ALBUM. I want an album. I'm tired of the random single shit. Yep. I want an album of 11 to 12 songs. They can include the 3 singles that have been released, even though I personally request that the General needs to be reworked majorly.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't want a bunch of leftover shit from Chinese Democracy.
You don't want Chinese too.
I don't. I want new stuff where Axl / Duff, Dizzy, hell, I mean, even Melissa, get in a studio, sit down, write, work, and create songs that reflect their current state of mind, their emotions, their thoughts, everything. I'm very much an anomaly in this day and age because I still consume whole albums of music.
Yeah.
Okay, I put on an album of 12 songs, I listen to it, and then a lot of times I listen to it again. Some days I get up and I think, oh, you know what? I want to listen to the Rolling Stones Steel Wheels album on repeat all day. Oh, I want to listen to Nevermind on repeat all day. I do that. Okay.
I am in that same camp.
I'm very much I'm very strange when it comes to that.
I guess it makes sense because we are related after all.
We are related. But I want an album, an actual album with cover art and a tour that supports it. I want this from Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
But I don't ask for a whole lot in life just to be left alone, but I also want a Guns N' Roses album.
I absolutely agree.
A new Guns N' Roses album.
No, I absolutely agree. I think honestly, I think I would be personally okay with like if they did like a reworked version of Chinese Democracy, the song.
Okay. Yes.
Like how they've been playing it live, you know.
And that's a good version how they play it live.
Yeah,
I agree.
So like,
I agree.
Know, re-record that. Maybe like, for fuck's sake, please rework The General.
Because the lyrics are amazing.
Yeah.
I went and read the lyrics.
Yeah.
The song structure just does not fit it at all.
And the production.
The production is horrible. It sounds like it was done through an egg crate. It's awful.
It makes me want to jab my eyes out with a spoon.
Well, don't do that. But,
but it's just like I want to inflict physical pain on myself because this song is already doing it.
Yeah.
It's just like I want to end it.
No.
Listening to the fucking song.
It is. It drastically needs to be reworked.
It sounds
I'm
so
sorry.
bad.
No, you know what? I'm not sorry. I'm not going to apologize for my opinion.
But like if they wanted to rework some of that stuff,
yeah,
I'd be fine with that.
I would too, like, to a certain degree. Let's not go overboard though.
No, but if they wanted to put like Absurd and Hard School on there too,
oh yeah,
I'd be fine with that.
Yeah,
you know,
I would be fine with perhaps.
Even perhaps,
because the piano saves that song.
If they wanted to throw that on there,
that
would be fine.
That'd be fine.
But give us a solid like 6 new tracks.
And have
2 to 3 reworked tracks.
And have a title for the album and have cover art and just
and have everything be finished.
And you could say we have a new Guns N' Roses album. A 7th, album. Right?
7th?
Appetite.
I don't think it's 7th. Appetite, Lies,
Illusion 1, Illusion 2, Spaghetti, Chinese Democracy. I can count 7. 7.
Appetite, Lies,
Illusion 1, Illusion 2, Spaghetti, Chinese Democracy. Then this new album would be the 7th.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. I'm an idiot. I can't do math or count.
We need to watch Sesame Street again.
I had a fucking dream about Elmo. I don't know why.
Oh my god.
I don't even remember what it was. I just remember having Elmo in my fucking dream last night for some reason.
It's probably residue from all the years you spent watching Elmo DVD. No shit, folks. He used to put Elmo DVDs on and play them from like 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And I walked around for probably a year speaking in an Elmo voice.
Mom, why are you embarrassing me?
Oh, you're Gen Z. I think some of our listeners will relate.
Yeah,
in the sense I used to do that. Yeah.
Hey, I was also a kid that watched Elmo and SpongeBob endlessly.
What are you talking about? You still watch SpongeBob?
Well, okay, yeah. When I actually turn on the fucking TV.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, yeah,
so that's our wishes.
I absolutely agree. Yeah. I think we need a new Guns N' Roses album.
We do. And that's our wishes. Those are our 3 wishes.
Yep.
Let's see if any of them come true this year.
Our music genies have been depleted.
Yes.
Hopefully they get back to us on those.
No, mine's gonna go drink.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Mine's gonna go drink.
Yeah.
One thing we did forget, Rose.
What's that?
As we moved on to our music wishes.
Yeah.
Did we have any honorable mentions for our top 5s?
I didn't.
You didn't?
No.
Okay. You didn't have, or even an EP to mention?
No.
No?
I had my albums.
Fair enough.
Why did I skip you with something that you wanted?
No, I was just thinking if we wanted to do honorable mentions, we could, but if we want to move on, we absolutely can.
I'm not in the mood for honorable mentions.
No honor. So, instead, we'll move on to old music new to you.
Yes.
a nice little segment.
Nice.
Remember I mentioned Exodus earlier? Like
yes.
how I had Exodus on the brain. That's why I was thinking of Gary Holt for some fucking reason. Yeah, so I recently went back and started checking out Exodus. My last old new music to you was Trauma, which is what Cliff Burton played in before joining Metallica. Exodus, which is probably more famously known, actually, than Trauma is, as having a Metallica member formerly part of it.
Oh, who is that Metallica member?
Well, a little guitarist by the name of Kirk Hammett. So, now, of course, Kirk Hammett did not feature on any albums by Exodus.
No, he did not.
But he did name the band.
Yes.
The name Exodus comes from Kirk Hammett.
It's also a really good book in the Bible. It's all about to do with plagues and death.
That's our favorite part of the Bible, because a lot of humans go through a lot of suffering.
Lots of plagues. Lots of plagues. Yeah.
You think you'd be tired of that after 2020?
No, I like reading about plagues.
Yeah. But anyway, Fabulous Disaster. It's the album that I've been a little bit stuck on as of late. That came out in 1988, and it is a fantastic thrash metal album.
Oh, wow.
Last Act of Defiance, Fabulous Disaster. Of course, this is the album that has Toxic Waltz on it, which is like a big hit for Exodus.
Yeah.
If you know an Exodus song, you probably know that one.
Was that the one that was on MTV Classic?
Yes, it
was.
A
week ago or something.
I should go listen to that album.
I should go listen to that album.
And I did. And now I've been listening to it ever since. Corruption and Verbal Razor is also a great song. And for some fucking reason, they did a cover of Lowrider by War.
Is it good?
It is.
Is it really?
And yes, it is this very same Lowrider. It's the same song that you're thinking of.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's that song. And they turned it into a thrash metal song. And it actually sounds pretty good.
I'm going to have to check that out.
Honestly, just go check out the whole album, because the whole album is good. For the most part, I think there's like one or two tracks I didn't care for, but the one track that I didn't care for is a cover. So I don't really count it.
No, because it's not
they have an AC/DC cover on there as well.
Oh, what AC/DC song?
Overdose.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I didn't care for that one as much.
Yeah.
But either way, still a nice little addition to old music, new to you, that I wanted to throw out there, because I like to put the spotlight on underrated old bands as much as I do like underrated newer bands. So
well, and I don't have anything for this, because like I said, I've been in a real big Motley Crue mood lately. Mm-hmm. But if you still have cable, which we still have cable because we're old school.
Yeah.
You should get MTV Classic, and honestly, just turn it on every once in a while.
Yeah.
They play videos all the time. They have, I want my 80s, 90s. Every Friday night, they do Metal Mayhem.
Yes.
And they include tons of bands that we like, and we're guilty every once in a while of watching it. Yep. But what is fun about watching some of that stuff is they will play videos and songs that I either completely forgot about or I didn't even know.
Yeah.
So I'll watch that every once in a while. I was actually watching it a little bit earlier today while I was eating my lunch.
Yep.
And there were a couple videos that came up with songs, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I completely forgot about this. And so then if you're anything like me, you run to your Spotify or you run to YouTube, and then you start looking up at watching the video again or things like that. But if you do that, I think it's a great way to discover some old music that makes it new to you, or just rediscovering old music that you've forgotten about. I mean, there's tons of music out there, and you forget stuff.
I've now gone to look at two bands because of watching MTV Classic.
Isn't that crazy?
Latest one is Exodus. I actually found out about a band called Warlock.
Yes,
because of
I remember you telling me about
which
that.
is, maybe you won't know the band, but if you have heard of Doro Pesch, who was a pretty famous metal vocalist.
Yes.
She was pretty popular in the 80s as just like the band Doro.
Yeah.
Before that, she fronted a band called Warlock.
Yep.
Who has some pretty good shit.
They do.
Yeah. I think it was the music video for their song All We Are that they played, and I was like, man, this girl can fucking sing.
Yeah. No, she has.
I was like,
a voice.
I'm gonna go check out this band.
Yeah.
So I've enjoyed listening to them ever since, basically.
Yeah, so if you get a chance, if you've got MTV Classic,
perfect chance to find some old music that's perhaps new to you.
Yeah,
and or as Rose said, even just rediscover some stuff.
Yeah, it'll expand your horizons.
Indeed, we love broadening horizons around here, don't we?
We do.
All right, well, with that, it's on to everybody's favorite segment.
Which one?
Metal Messages,
Yay!
baby.
It's time for the news. Good news, fun news.
Indeed.
With our version of Tom Brokaw.
A bit. Hello. It's a bit like it's a bit like album review time, starting things off.
Yes,
because
it is.
As we are here in 2024, we've got a new album from Green Day,
Yay!
folks. Green Day released their 14th studio album, Saviors, on January 19th, and it is still true to the band's roots. It is the most Green Day sounding album in quite a while.
It is.
Man, I just am gonna say I fucking love this album.
I love this album. I absolutely love it.
Oh man, it's
there
so
is so
good.
much on it that I can relate to. Wow.
So good.
I love how it's still that style of pop punk, talking about issues relevant to our society. You've got a little bit of rockabilly thrown in.
It goes back. What's great is it really goes back to like the Dookie and Nimrod era.
It does.
Honestly, of Green Day. Well, it keeps some modern touches to it. It really does go back to the earlier days of Green Day, which is what I love the most. Like American Idiot on back. I think I've said that before on this podcast. That's like my favorite era of Green Day.
Yeah.
And this newest album fits right in there.
Yeah, I completely agree.
It fits into that sound that they used to have so well.
They really did. They really went back to their roots on that, and you can hear some more punk influence on. I hear some Ramones in various places throughout, and just in keeping with the sense of punk that our society is very fucked up, which of course we know it is. So again, I think very much true to their roots, very much to punk in that sense.
Very much more punk rock on this album than pop punk, it feels.
Absolutely.
Pretty good.
Yeah,
I think it's a pretty good thing.
And Billy Joe, he sounds amazing.
Oh yeah, he sounds exactly the same.
He does, but he doesn't sound like he's trying to be young again.
No,
either. He doesn't sound like he's trying to achieve the sound of Dookie with his vocals, but he just sounds like him. I watched him on Howard Stern on YouTube, and he sounds fucking incredible. And I swear to God, the guy is just preserved. He looks exactly the same. I
knew this album was gonna fucking go with the singles that were coming out.
Yeah.
Because every single one of the singles were great.
Yeah.
But listening to the whole thing, it's like, wow.
Yeah.
That's really good. There is just like one track on here that I'd call a dud, and that's it.
Which one?
Bobby Socks.
Oh, really? See, I do like that.
I think it's a little cheesy myself, but
okay, then what is your favorite album off of this song?
What's my favorite
album
off of this song?
What is your favorite song off of this album? It's hard, folks. It really is. My brain is mush.
Strike that.
Reverse it.
No, for me, my favorite song is probably "Living in the 20s."
Oh yeah.
That's to me, that's the song that I like put on repeat.
Yeah.
Pretty much after listening to the album for the first time, and second time,
and third time.
It's like that is one of the most Green Day punk rock sounding songs on the record.
Yeah.
And for me, ultimate favorite, it's between that and Dilemma.
Oh, I love Dilemma.
So, and One-Eyed Bastard is up there too.
One-Eyed Bastard is excellent.
I
think what's so funny is the first time I listened to One-Eyed Bastard, the guitar reminds me of So What by Pink.
Yeah!
I was like, wait a minute, where have I heard this guitar before? And then I went and listened to it again, and I'm going, that's that Pink song.
Yep.
I love Pink, of course, but
nope, I was thinking the exact same thing.
Because I started humming the lyrics to So What, and I'm going, this matches up with the guitar perfectly.
Wait a minute.
Holy shit, Green Day, are you ripping off Pink? What's going on here? But honestly though,
so
I mean,
fun.
isn't that crazy?
It's such a weird like similarity.
It is.
I don't totally different artists, but the thing is though, like, okay, yeah, it sounds similar, but it's still a great song.
It's still great.
It's still a great song.
Because they put their own spin on it, their own flavor on it.
But it is very funny how that sounds
and that
so similar. And
the
that was
first
like
thing that popped into my head.
I know, like I listened to it, I was like, man, this is such a good song. I was like, wait a minute.
Where am I support this
fucking Pink.
Yes.
Like that was my thought process when I listened to the single, and then after that I was just like, oh man, this is a fucking banger. I'm gonna listen to this all day.
Yes, no, it is.
But I was like, man, this sounds like that Pink song.
it is Green Day without sounding tired.
Yeah.
You know,
yep.
I think.
No, it's very much like it sounds. Whoops, papers. It sounds.
I'm throwing my papers everywhere.
It sounds like well, I mean, it just sounds like Green Day again.
It does,
which is great. And after the fucking bonfire that was Father of All Motherfuckers, there was
I liked that album.
You're weird.
I know I am, but I like that album.
It was a contractual obligation.
I know, but I liked it. I thought it was good. You gave me your copy of it. I'm like, Yay!
I bought it because A, I want to support Green Day because I like Green Day.
Right.
And then B, I was like, okay, everybody's saying this is shit, so I want to hear it.
Right.
And then I heard it, and I was like, yeah, this is shit. Here, you can have it.
I like it. It's so punk. I don't give a fuck.
Then you went on like
Gen X.
YouTube or Spotify and listened to it. I was like, oh, this is so punk. I like it.
I do.
Here.
I do.
Have a ball.
It's good. It's good.
Have a party with this fucking record.
Well, do you want to know what my favorite song is off this album?
Yes, please. You
could probably guess.
Waxed poetic enough.
You could probably guess what it is.
Do you think I can?
Try.
Strange Days Are Here Again.
Yes.
Or
Strange Days Are Here to Stay.
Strange Days Are Here to Stay.
Yes.
My mistake.
To me, this is Gen X being permanently let down by life. Okay, so I have to read some of these lyrics here, where it says they promised us forever, but we got less. There's no such thing as promises, just secret codes from alphabets. And then the chorus: all the madmen going mental. Grandma's on the fentanyl now. Strange days are here to stay.
Yeah.
And it's true. I think Gen X was promised so much, and we got nothing. Yeah. You know, oh, go to college, you're going to get a great job, and that job's going to be steady, and blah, 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 blah. No.
Yeah.
No. I so many people I know, and myself being one of them, we got a lot of degrees and stuff, and people look at us and say, yeah, we're not going to employ you. Or we're going to employ you and we're going to pay you peanuts. You want to do this job for your health, don't you? No, I need a fucking paycheck. And just so many things, so many problems that I have seen in society that I never thought really we would get this bad. Let's just put it that way. I don't know if our teenage angst paid off well or not. So, but yeah, I love this song. This is the song that I listen to on repeat.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that comes down to, again, you're Gen X, I'm Gen Z. It provides a little bit of different retrospective, where it's got lyrics that you could relate to Gen X. Living in the 20s, for me, is got some lyrics that is pretty relevant to, like, some of the stuff that I see in society that's fucked up. Right off the bat in that song. Another shooting in a supermarket.
Yeah.
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 It's pretty fucking bad when, as a young person, I have to fear about getting shot whenever I leave the fucking house.
I know, you can't just go to Kroger anymore.
My generation fears going to school and potentially getting shot, like, genuinely.
That's really fucking sad.
Yeah.
That's really fucked up, because you should be able to go out and do what you want to do and feel that safety. Mm-hmm. And I think and I don't mean to go on a tirade about this, but I see headlines where people, they just wonder, they just cannot understand why Gen Z has such high rates of anxiety and depression and loneliness, and like why Gen Z wants to be on the computer so they can talk to their friends. And I'm going, why the fuck do you think? These kids
try to look at what you've done.
These kids were scared to go to school because their schools were being fucking shot up. These kids were scared to go to the store because some madmen would walk in and shoot up everything or stab people.
Yep.
It's real simple. Your generation was born right around started. Your generation started in 97. Mm-hmm. So right around when 9/11 happened, and a lot of fucking things changed when 9/11 happened. Mm-hmm. And if you were alive in 9/11, you know that things have changed, and things have changed about our society and about our country. Mm-hmm. And I completely understand why your generation has a lot of anxiety because
unfortunately just gotten more dangerous.
It's gotten more dangerous. I have enough anxiety as it is. I have generalized anxiety disorder. Okay, that's all there is to it. I understand why your generation does because I think I look at all the different factors, and if people are just too blind to see it, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. I don't know what to tell those people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like me here as a member of my generation. You know, I kind of look at these people being like looking to my generation being like, oh, you guys can do all this stuff and change the world, and I just kind of throw up my hands and be like, no, you fix your own fucking problems. We're not here to fix the fucking what the millennials fucked up,
or even what my generation fucked up, or the boomers.
We're not here to fucking do that, okay? Because you have not given us the power to.
My father, who is a boomer, he has apologized to me for what the boomers did not do. And he has even said, he goes, I am so sorry that my generation has left Orion's generation with these problems. Yeah. So no, Gen Z, you're not responsible for fixing anything. Yeah. And I absolutely hate it. I don't, whether or not we aren't, I don't feel like, I don't feel like fixing your problems. And you shouldn't.
The previous generation's problems.
And that's why those headlines
I didn't make them.
Those headlines just absolutely drive me nuts. Well, why is Gen Z like this? I'm like, why do you fucking think? Yeah. Open your eyes. Open your eyes. Okay, yeah. I'm done.
On a more cheerful
music note here.
On a more cheerful note, one of my favorite fucking lyrics of all time from Green Day because it's just funny punk rock. Verse 2 of Living in the 20s. I got a buzz like a murder hornet. I drink my media and turn it into vomit. Yeah. I got a robot and I'm fucking senseless. It comes with batteries and now they speaks in English.
I love that. The first time I heard it, I just died laughing. Yeah, I was like, that is great.
It's such like a punk rock Ramones type of lyric.
It is. It's very Ramones-esque. Yes.
It's a lot of fun.
Yes.
You know, that very like sarcastic kind of like observational commentary remarking of the current state of the world, you know, and the oddities that are occurring in it and stuff like that.
We live in an odd world anymore.
That's Green Day.
That is.
You know, that's the shit that they made remarks about on like American Idiots.
Yeah.
You know, even though that was a concept album that focused on characters, they still had some good social commentary in that album. Right. And seeing that return in a very like kind of comical sense in some cases on this album, it's just another reason why I love it, because it's
a great album.
Back to Green Day.
And if you have not checked it out yet, please do so. It's a great listen.
Absolutely.
A great listen.
Again, the title is Saviors. Go look it up on Spotify or your personal streaming platform of choice.
Or buy it on CD.
Yeah, do that too.
Yep.
So, that's not the only album we have to talk about, though.
No, we don't.
Because Saxon has also released their latest album, Hell, Fire, and Damnation.
All right.
It's their 24th studio album, and in March, Saxon will hit the road with Judas Priest and Uriah Heep for their European tour that will continue through July for various dates. What we're most excited about is the Hellfire and Chaos United States tour with Uriah Heep starting in late April, because we are going!
Yay!
We're actually getting to see a fucking concert.
Holy shit.
Again.
We're gonna go see Saxon.
Saxon and Uriah Heep. How about that?
We're going in May. I cannot wait. It's gonna be so much fun.
Very much looking forward to it.
Very much.
And yeah, Hellfire, Damnation. It's just another really solid Saxon album. It's good, classic, epic sounding Saxon. If you've heard their past like 3 or 4 records, you know what to expect from this one.
But they don't disappoint.
They don't. No, they don't.
And they have a good sound that's not tired.
I think personally, I was a bigger fan of the previous album, Carpe Diem.
That's a fantastic album.
I think that was released in 22.
I think it was.
Forgive me if I'm wrong. It was either 21 or 22. But I think this is still a very solid album from them, and it's more Saxon. Yeah. You know, I mean, fucking Biff Byford is like 73, and he
sounds incredible,
singing fantastically.
Yeah.
So yeah. Again, go check that out as well. Hellfire and Damnation, Saxon.
And go check them out on tour too, if you're fortunate enough. We're very fortunate that we get to do this, so I'm very much looking forward to it.
Having seen a few stray videos of Saxon live, I think it's going to be a fantastic show.
It's going to be fantastic. So, speaking of tour news, Anthrax is hitting the road again later this year.
Yes, indeed.
The tour kicks off in late November and will go through the UK and Europe until late December. Anthrax is also bringing along Creator and Testament for the ride. Tickets are on sale now.
Indeed. And Anthrax, of course, still has their rumblings of that new album that might be coming out this year. So,
ooh, man, I should have put that on my wish list. You know, that could be like my fourth. But I don't know. I don't know. Just from some of the stuff I've read, it may take a while.
Yeah, it might not be until next year.
It may not be kind of the way they were talking in that interview I read.
But we're still gonna get some new Anthrax soon, which is fantastic.
Which is exciting. To celebrate their 43rd year of not killing each other, Motley Crue recently opened their Crueseum, which is a virtual live museum that features stage clothing, mementos, photographs. It's basically the band's personal archives.
Yeah.
It's a living, breathing museum, meaning that they're constantly adding to it, and they feature items that have never been seen by the public. So
that's cool.
It's very cool. Check it out if you're a fan of the band like I am. I think it's pretty interesting. I personally love all the old photographs, and the fact that they said there will be more photographs. I like that.
Very cool.
Yeah, check it out.
And for the record, not a museum, a
Crueseum, an online living, breathing museum, and you can access that at www.crueseum.com.
CRUESEUM.
Absolutely.
.com. That is a very interesting thing.
It really is.
Doing.
It really is.
Pretty innovative.
I think it's pretty cool. I don't know of any other band that does that.
No, I have. That's a new concept. I haven't heard of it before, to be honest with you.
It's a way to see this kind of stuff without having to travel.
Yeah.
It's expensive and it's dangerous out there, so why not do it virtually?
Indeed.
Yeah. In addition, Motley has also announced they're bringing back their fan club.
Oh, how about that?
Named the Sin Club. It was around in the 80s, but they resurrected it due to popular demand.
Really?
Imagine that.
Wow.
Imagine that. So, Orion, back in the dinosaur days.
Oh, boy.
If you wanted exclusive information about a band, along with photos, tickets, sometimes you would get like a little newsletter, things like that, you joined a fan club.
Yeah.
And it was sometimes for a small fee, like maybe a couple bucks, $5 at the most. And you would literally fill out a paper membership form, put it in an envelope, stick stamp on it, send it via snail mail.
Nice.
And then in about 6 to 8 weeks, depending on how fast the old lady in the front office could work, you would receive confirmation you were a member. Like, you would get like a little membership card and stuff like that. The KISS fan club, I mean, walking around with your laminated KISS fan club pass.
Oh, yeah.
That was a big thing, especially back in the 70s, early 80s, you know?
Yeah.
So to think that they're bringing back a fan club like this, that's really, really cool.
That's pretty cool.
Of course, it looks like the new version of the Sin Club will be all online, of course. I don't know if you'll get a membership card or not. Maybe you'll get a virtual one.
Yeah.
But if you want to join, or if you want to rejoin, if you were a member back in the 80s, you can find more information out about it on Crueseum.com.
Yep. That's going to be the place to go, it seems like.
Yep, for Motley Crue stuff.
Alrighty, and then finally, for our metal messages, we're going to feature a band that we don't usually cover, but I wanted to make mention of it.
Sure.
Anybody has heard of the band Sabaton?
I have.
They're a power metal band. They make a lot of songs about that are based around historical events.
Okay. I don't know if I've ever heard of their songs.
They do some pretty cool stuff.
Okay.
So I definitely recommend checking them out. Specifically, they have they have an album called The Great War, which is a song that features, or it's an album, excuse me, that features songs all lyrically based around some of the events that happened during World War I.
Oh, really?
Around the time of World War I.
Oh, wow.
So that was that remains my favorite Sabaton album.
Okay.
And one of the guitarists that played on that album was Tommy Johansson.
Okay.
I believe I'm pronouncing that last name correct. I
Looks
apologize.
like it to me.
I apologize if not. But Tommy Johansson has left the band.
Okay.
According to Metal Injection, he played with the band from 2016 to now. Johansson decided to depart in order to pursue musical interest and goals outside of Sabaton. It was a very mutual parting.
That's what I read.
It was, no hard feelings or anything like that. Just Tommy wanted to go and pursue some new adventures.
Yeah.
Now Sabaton has not yet named a replacement, so we're going to be awaiting that for certain.
I need to check them out. I love history.
I would absolutely go check them out. Every single one of their songs is based around like some sort of event or something related to history. So and they are fantastic group of musicians.
Cool.
Very cool. Definitely give them a listen. But that's all we have for Metal Messages. And that's actually all we have for episode 13. It really is. Now, just a couple things here before we say goodbye. We are going to do an episode 13.5, and that's going to be our reaction to the Grammy Awards, which air on Sunday, February 4th on CBS. Oh boy. We just want to talk about the artists who won, those who didn't, because Metallica is up for 3 awards. Mm-hmm. The Stones are up for at least 1 award. Yep. Queens of the Stone Age, Foo Fighters. So, we want to support those bands. Yeah. Even if they don't win a Grammy, we still love them no matter what. Absolutely. And in general, as, being rock and roll metal fans, just kind of give what our impressions are on the Grammys, even if we don't end up watching the whole thing. Which I probably I don't think I've actually watched the Grammys from start to finish in about 12 years-ish, I think. I always listen to Eddie Trunk's recaps, which is just basically him screaming for an hour. Yeah. And screaming, fast forward, which is great. Yeah. Yeah. But, so we're going to do our own Grammy Awards episode. Yeah. And this special episode will be available around February 11th. Yeah. It'll take us some time to record and things like that. We're shooting for that. Yeah. We're shooting for that. Get the opportunity to record and throw everything together in that. So absolutely. Get all of our notes together and just get prepared and stuff like that. Absolutely. So keep an eye out for that. Yes, and that also will end up on both Spotify and YouTube. Correct. So look forward to that. And then episode 14, which is we will each make our own Use Your Illusion album. Oh boy. Okay, so similar to episode 12, where we made our own Metallica Load era album using Load and Reload. In this case, we're taking Guns N' Roses' iconic twin albums, Use Your Illusion 1 and 2, to create our own Ultimate Illusion era album. Yep, just as we did before, limiting it to a certain amount of songs. 12 to be exact. That was the rule we came up with. Yes. So I need to check my list and make sure I didn't accidentally put 14. I think I put 15, so I got to trim it down. So yeah, another challenge that will be difficult, but it'll be fun to see what we come up with. It will. And in what order. Indeed. Yeah. Just as we did with Load and Reload. Yep. So we figured we needed to do the other side of the coin with that. Absolutely. Since we did Load and Reload. So episode 14 will be available around late February, maybe early March, just depending on our schedules. Somewhere in that ballpark, depending on when we get the opportunity to record. So. Absolutely. All right, so we still have our email address. If you want to talk to us, it is rti_official@yahoo.com. Also, tap that follow button at the top of our page on Spotify so you have another way to stay up to date as to when new episodes post. And as always with Season 2, once they have become uploaded to YouTube, feel free to leave a comment. I will try to answer you as fast as I possibly can. I am a obsessive notification checker, so if you leave a comment, I will more than likely see it. And hey, those of you that have listened to us on YouTube and have given us the thumbs up, thank you. Yes. We really appreciate that. You. We are just two fans sitting in a basement talking about music. Yep. And to know that you folks are out there listening and giving us thumbs up. It means a lot. Thank you. I appreciate it. Actually taking the time to listen to us blabble. It means a lot. We appreciate it. We appreciate every single one of you. Hopefully we are entertaining and educational at the same time. Yes. If we piss you off, well, that's life. So, thank you, as always, for listening. And remember, keep it cranked. Rock on and keep the Sabbath black, my friends.